In this conversation, we're going to talk about environmental compliance. As you know, China is becoming very strict with its environmental compliance lately. They're shutting down factories. They're making people have to spend a lot of money to maybe put in new equipment and other ideas that's going to make the environment in China much better and a much better place to live. But the real question is, do you always have to use the high-cost solution? And the answer is no. For example, if you're running a paint shop, most of the Chinese people who I've talked to, Chinese companies who I've talked to, don't know a thing about what's called transfer efficiency. In other words, that's the amount of paint that gets put onto your part from the spray gun as you're spraying it. If you increase the transfer efficiency, in other words, you're putting actually more paint out of the liter of paint that's going out of the gun onto the vehicle or to the other part, you save money. And you not only save money, but you don't use as much paint. In the US, when we were first going through the environmental issues, transfer efficiency was the #1 way that we started to reduce costs as well as reduce paint, volatile organic compounds coming out of the paint shop to make things better. Finally, in the end, we had to put in some new equipment. But first, we used our interior systems that we could actually change to make it better. Here in China, we have seen thousands of ways to do this. For example, most automotive factories in the world now have zero waste going to landfill. Most factories that I see in the electronics industries or other, landfill costs have to be high. There's tons and tons of garbage. We helped a Chinese company go to zero landfill. They got about 50% of the way there so far. There's a lot of ways to not have landfill anymore, to reduce your pollution. Process control, which will help you improve your quality of your part that you're making, of the product you're making. It will make you have less people needed to make the part. Will also reduce the amount of pollution you have by using each and every process, glue processes, plating processes, other processes. All of them will become more efficient and produce less pollution. Before you have to go spend a whole lot of money on a new facility, or you go and spend a whole lot of money on a new piece for that facility, think first about looking at your own process control. Think about what you can change inside. The other things that you can do is sometimes when you're painting or using other solvent-based processes, some of that excess solvent can be funneled off and put into the ovens where you're baking the product. And you can use that for heat. We wrote a paper that went into the European Chamber magazine a few years ago to discuss the hundreds of methods that you can use to reduce pollution and reduce cost and help the environment without having to go buy all kinds of new facility.